Y'all have been trying to cancel Nara Smith for the longest time, and at this point, y'all are really reaching, and it's so obvious.
She's literally doing this for views. Last time I went on her page, the first video was now a sponsored video. Her following has gone up, her video views have gone up.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. And today I wanted to do sort of like an update or like a part two to the Nara Smith and Oneswa allegations. And at first I thought when I made my last video that, and there were a few people that, still agreed with Oneswa, which is fine. I'm all for like a conspiracy theory and looking at things that most people will miss. And again, if you know anything about me and my channel, you would know that I was like super pro-black and stuff. So I still have like an inkling to, protect someone that doesn't look like me and, understand that the nuance between, power plays and stuff like that. So I genuinely looked at this Nara Smith and Oneswa situation before I made the video before, just to make sure that, that my own bias wasn't coming through. And of course, I came to the same conclusion that most of us came to, that this is just, dare I say, a money grab, because the allegations are just ridiculous, like really mozzarella cheese sticks, boba tea. But initially I thought that people were going to be so obsessed with the colorism thing and everything with Ekane that they wouldn't be able to see that this is clearly a money grab, and that Oneswa, just like as Articles United said, this is not about social justice. This is about social power and social institutions, because she's bringing up money, she's bringing up profit, she's bringing up aesthetics and classism, but you're not bringing up actual theft allegations. Like if I worked really hard on something and this is my art, then I would focus on the art, and that's not what she was doing. And little by little, people are starting to come around and see, wait a minute, maybe we were wrong about this situation, which I did not think that the general public would be able to do. I figured they would just sympathize, with the poor African woman whose art was stolen by this rich model lady. But little by little, people are coming around, and I'm going to show you guys the videos on that. So sit back and enjoy.
She's literally doing this for views. Last time I went on her page, the first video was now a sponsored video. Her following has gone up, her video views have gone up, and all the little support in her comments like, yeah, we're gonna support you over Nara. I just hate that this is the way she had to go to get her voice out there. And it's like she made herself the victim in a victimless situation. It's just disgusting.
Y'all have been trying to cancel Nara Smith for the longest time, and at this point, y'all are really reaching, and it's so obvious. Talking about some, oh my goodness, she talks in a soft voice and she makes food from scratch just like this other creator. Like, what? Do you know how many creators on this app do food reviews sitting in their car? Are they all copying off of Keith Lee? You can be inspired by someone. That doesn't necessarily mean you are copying off of them. Like, leave this poor girl alone. Oh my goodness. Y'all have been trying to cancel Nara Smith for the longest time, and at this point, y'all are really reaching, and it's so obvious. Talking about some, oh my goodness, she talks in a soft voice and she makes food from scratch just like this other creator. Like, what? Do you know how many creators on this app do food reviews sitting in their car? Are they all copying off of Keith Lee? You can be inspired by someone. That doesn't necessarily mean you are copying off of them. Like, leave this poor girl alone. Oh my goodness. Y'all.
Am I shocked that Nara Smith is being accused of taking Oneswa's content? No. And the reason I say I'm not surprised is because the platforming of Nara Smith is built off of an aspirational form of femininity. People say that they like Nara Smith's content because she's making all of her things from scratch, but I never really believed that that was the reason that most people like her content. The reason I say that is because I'm African. If you're Black, you grew up seeing or have someone in your family who was always making something from scratch. We have so many indigenous dishes that require us to make the entire thing from scratch. Cooking Nigerian food can be a whole evening's worth, a whole day's worth of things, because so many things are cooked from scratch. But why is it that when Nara Smith, who's wearing these designer clothes while cooking these things, is somehow seen as feminine because of her making these things from scratch? And I think it's because of the aesthetics that come behind being a housewife, which I wouldn't even consider Nara Smith a housewife because she's making content. So the work that she's showing you is literally paying her bills is her work. What really gets me about this whole Onezwa and Nara Smith situation is how many people are quick to disregard Onezwa to uplift Nara Smith, especially people who look like Onezwa. A lot of Black people would rather champion biracial people or people who are not Black before we champion somebody who is Black. And all of Desirability plays a big role as to why people see themselves in Nara Smith and why she has a very strong following of people who want to protect her. I think it's interesting when people discuss like, oh yeah, Nara Smith, like she gets attacked by people, so we have to stand by her, and if you don't like her, you're a hater. When like Onezwa came out, I didn't see people in droves wanting to stand behind her and protect her. So is it really about protection or is it about desirability?
Onezwa, babe, you got what you wanted, but at what cost? Literally. Like, Nara is not playing games anymore. Because she told her that she is ready to sue her for defamation if she does not stop making these videos. And at first when I heard that Nara threatened to sue her, I was like, so where is this going to happen? But I'm pretty sure that Nara has no problem taking a trip back home to stand on business. And I personally think this whole thing is just ridiculous and a waste of time. And it's crazy because this whole thing has just sprouted from jealousy and envy. Like, Onezwa wants what Nara has. She wants the platform, she wants the money, and she wants the support. But what people fail to realize is that Nara Ben had this platform even before she started cooking on her page. Like, before she was even Miss Make It From Scratch, she was a model. She was rich. She was married to a man named Lucky Blue Smith. Like, the first video I ever saw of Nara was just a vlog of her going shopping in the mall with her family. And that's what drew me in, the love that I saw between her and Lucky, her adorable kids, and just her bougie lifestyle. And that's why I thought it was ridiculous when people were saying that their content was similar, because I was quite literally like, where? It's also not Nara's fault that Onezwa is not getting paid for her videos. Like, do you want Nara to start a creator fund in South Africa? And honestly, instead of accusing her of copying her content, this could have been a collab. This could have been a positive thing, because Nara quite literally has nothing to do with the fact that she can get paid on this app. But instead, she opted to play the blame game, and in the process is destroying Nara's and her own reputation. Okay, so guys, I have a confession to make, and that is I did not know that that email that Nara sent was fake. Like, when I first saw it, I just skimmed through it, got the gist of it, and then made the video. But then as the video got more views and comments, I was then informed that the email was very fake. Like, after reading this again, I can definitely see that Nara did not write this. And it's kind of obvious when you get to the part that says, the videos in question are not my original creations, and I have all the necessary proof on this social media platform, TikTok. But then this also makes me wonder where the email came from, because it obviously didn't come out of thin air. Because I'm thinking two things. Either some troll or whatever just made the email and sent it to Onezwa to confuse her, or Onezwa herself made the email to get more attention. I feel so stupid for believing it in the first place, because Nara obviously would not send an email herself anyway. Nara is quite literally so unbothered by the situation. Like, she has not made any type of videos addressing it either. And I feel like this whole thing is gonna blow over pretty soon, because I mean, Onezwa got what she wanted, because I mean, she got the followers, she got the recognition, she's got everybody talking about her now. So I feel like it's over.
Nara Smith is a name that has honestly taken the internet by storm. A lot of people obviously know who she is. If you don't know who Nara Smith is and you're not interested, then I would probably just scroll on. But I've been thinking a lot around this concept of Nara Smith and her digestibility, because I don't really think that Nara cosplays or tries to be white in any form. I think that she's very authentically herself, and I love her. But my opinion aside, I think that obviously she's very clearly a Black woman. There's no way that she could ever kind of like be white passing. Her features are very Black, like her lips, her nose, her cheekbones, things like that. So I find it very interesting that she's a lot more digestible as a Black creator than someone like Monet. You see her more along the lines of someone like Alex Earl. And I'm wondering if it's because of the type of content that she makes, where obviously like this very traditional housewife, but she's come out to say many times that she's obviously not just a housewife, she's obviously a supermodel. So I find it just like, I'm so confused why there's this like digestibility around her, and like love her. I love that she has that success, but like why does Monet and like Clark and all these other Black creators, they have success, but they don't have the same type of success as Nara? Like, these white women aren't eating these Black women up the way that they're eating Nara up. And they eat her up the same way that they eat Sophia Richie up. And Sophia Richie is a whole different, another conversation, because white women also all the time, I think they think that she's white. But her daddy, Lionel Richie, that girl Black.
And there's like her, like, look at her, she's black. There's no way that, I don't know, there's no way that Nara could cosplay as white or pass as white the way that Sophia Richie Grange does, but they kind of dance that similar line, and I just find it very interesting, and I want to know other people's thoughts on this.
Okay, so one thing I've noticed about this Nara Smith situation, and no one else has called it out, so I'm gonna say it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Nara Smith is a content creator on here. Y'all know who she is. She make everything from scratch and some Chanel. But recently, it's been a young lady. She's in South Africa. I do not know how to say her name, so I'm gonna call her Miss O. Miss O had called Nara out saying like, yo, you biting my fucking style. Now, everybody's picking sides. Now, most people are looking at both content talking about, I don't really see the correlation. But there are some people that are diehard. Nara Smith is a thief and she needs to be called out for it. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I looked at both pages and I don't see a correlation, but I do see a correlation that everybody who thinks that Nara Smith is guilty, they fall in one of these 4 categories, right? And I'm not trying to be mean, but that's just what I've noticed. They are either extremely anti-religious, they don't believe that biracial people are black people, they don't believe in interracial marriages, or they're the eat the rich type of person. Without doubt, everybody who I've seen say that Nara Smith is wrong falls in one of those 4 categories, if not all of them. And not to say that y'all are purposely lying, but what I'm saying is hard to believe that someone that goes against your entire belief system, at least on social media, what you share to us, like you're quoting Dr. Umar, you hate religious people, and now you want me to believe that you looked at Nara Smith content unbiased? I don't believe it. My personal opinion, I feel like a lot of y'all been sitting around waiting on a day for this biracial, married to a white man, rich Mormon woman to be called out. Okay, so one thing
So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And that last clip really hit it on the nail for me. When she said that most of Nara's haters who've been haters like way before this Onesworth thing happened, they're either like anti-religious, they don't believe mixed people are black people, or they have like sensitivities towards race and stuff like that, and white passingness and stuff like that. Or they're one of the eat the rich people who are just against classism, which is so funny because when you break it down, that's where all of it comes from. People are either upset that she's mixed and she doesn't have, she just has like a different appeal than maybe an Oneswa would, on top of classism because she's rich, and on top of her religious views. And there's some other things that I also noticed I want to get into with you guys, but that last video definitely hit the nail on the head for me. So something else I noticed was that if this was any other group of religious people, dare I say like Jewish people or something, this would be considered anti-Semitic. But because Nara and her husband are both Mormons, people feel like it's okay to judge her lifestyle or her use of, how she wants to be a mother and how she wants to, be a part of her religion. I think the Mormons, they have to wear some type of like garments and stuff. Some of them don't show their hair and stuff like that. And she basically doesn't do that. And she was basically forced to come out and say that she's not like hardcore and she's figuring out her religion with her husband herself, like her own way. And I think if this was any other like person, that this would be considered anti-Semitic and stuff like that. So I found it really funny how people can make fun of her for her religion and judge her for her religion. When if this was any other person, that would not be acceptable. But because it's a pretty exotical girl who's, rich and a model, people feel like it's okay. And speaking of her being an exotical, most people don't like her because she simply is an exotical, whether it's racist white women that don't want, a black girl or a black, passing girl, whatever, to them with a white guy, or black people who don't want, a mixed girl with a white guy and stuff like that. And a lot of people are just going over like her blackness and stuff and pulling up pictures of like her parents and stuff like that. And she's always been upfront about the fact that she's from Germany and about the fact that she's mixed and stuff like that. So I'm not sure why people are going out their way to like dissect her blackness as if it was ever a secret. And the second group of people who have something against her, of course, were the people who complain about classism and stuff like that. That's going to be a whole nother video, by the way. But something within that I noticed is that there's a lot of the woke people that feel like if you're a wife that you're a slave or something, like feminists and stuff, like they're against trad wives. And I have my own opinion on that. But I don't think you should control other people's lives. And that girl looks really happy. And she seems really smart. And she seems like she's in control of her life. And people are upset at the fact that she's a young mother. And she continues to keep having children. And they're like projecting, oh, he's going to leave you. Or, oh, he just fetishizes you. Or you're only 20-something. Why do you have all these children? He's going to make you a single mother. And just projecting a whole bunch of negative stuff onto her relationship. And those are mostly like older women or like feminist people. And stuff like that. I also noticed that's like more like older white women, like baby boomers, like trying to say because she's a Mormon and she's like cooking stuff from scratch that she's trying to trick people into being a trad wife, which is literally insane.
I don't really know what to think. Another addition if you think you're looking at a super smart, loving, caring influencer. But really it's Nara Smith, who has one of the biggest platforms right now on TikTok and doesn't believe in talking about Palestine, despite the fact that she is South African. 7.6 million people! My God! Self-promotion. That's all that she cares about. But is it self-promotion? I don't think so. Lots of people on this app are talking about the fact that Nara Smith has been stealing content from another black woman in South Africa, Anezwa. And can I just say, I've made a video about Nara Smith before in the fact that she's Mormon, and the whole trad wife shtick doesn't feel authentic to me from her. And not only that, the whole Mormon religion is basically built to exploit women. We all know that. And she's just kind of glamorizing it, and it doesn't feel great to me. Whereas her content feels very authentic, incredibly authentic. Like, this all makes sense all of a sudden. Now, don't even get me started on this couple, because I've been covering this couple from the very beginning of my page. This is her husband, Lucky, and his ex, Stormy, who started dating when she was 25 and he was 17. Yeah, and this is the kind of behavior that seems even more acceptable in the Mormon religion. And as someone that has grew up Mormon, fuck that shit. It's not just the fact that her content has always seemed inauthentic to me. It's not just the fact that she doesn't want to champion Palestine or any genocide of any kind or stand on business in any way on her page. It's also the fact that she shows her kids' faces all the time on her app. And let me tell you, we all know what happens to kids on the internet. Well, we will keep doing the work because the most platformed people on this app are not going to, clearly. Link is live in my bio for one more day. 35 grand. Wow. So inspired to be in this community. Mind your idols. I will say it for Nara. Free Palestine's pretty easy to say.
Yeah, so that was definitely a mouthful. And you can tell she didn't really give a crap about any of that stuff. Like, you never made a post about Mormonism before Nara Smith. You didn't really care, if anyone else shouted out Palestine before Nara Smith. Like, basically, she's projecting all this, like, woke stuff and all this feminist stuff onto her because she's just a target. And in my personal opinion, Nara Smith does not give trad wife. She gives just like classic and chic. She doesn't necessarily give like trad wife. Like, even though some of her clothes might have that aesthetic, it's not like, because I know some like girls who really do dress up like old time fashion, that they take it really seriously. And Nara does not give that. She gives, like, it's just dress up. Like, she's just having fun. It doesn't really give like super traditionalism like at all. Someone else I noticed that always gets the streaming is also an exotical. Her name is Shira7. I'm sure you've heard of her. But now, is she a little bit controversial? Yes, but she's usually very much unproblematic. So the first time people tried to cancel her, it didn't really go over. But they were basically saying she got something from Starbucks, so she hates Palestinians and blah, blah, blah. And she basically said, like, look, I'm not about to stress myself out with something I can't control and not get my morning cup of coffee, which is something I can't control, to make my day better. And because of that, people wanted to cancel her and say, oh, you don't give a crap about Palestine and blah, blah, blah. And you just do things for money and you're just a slave housewife and all this crazy stuff that they're basically saying about Nara too. And I think people just hate seeing exoticals be taken care of and be in a happy marriage. And have everything that they need. And they try to like downplay these women, but these women have the lives that they want. So what they do is they try to act like they're doing it like, I don't know, like in an immoral way. Like, you have a dream life, but you don't deserve it because you don't care about Palestine, because you still drink Starbucks. Like, it's just like some crazy stuff all the time. Yeah, so it's really just a bunch of people that are jealous of her privilege, whether that be her beauty, her ambiguity, or her class and stuff like that. And really just jealous of her relationship. Honestly, I think this all boils down to Lucky Blue Smith, her husband, because people are always bringing up the fact that his ex-wife was like a white woman and stuff like that. And I think people are just jealous of her relationship, which is insane, because this is not the first time I've seen something like this happen. If you guys know FKA Twigs, I think that's her name, she was in a relationship with Robert Patterson. Also Shia LaBeouf as well. But with Robert Patterson, he had moved on to, I think he married like a white woman. And this was like a big thing because people are basically saying he really did want a white woman and that he was just fetishizing her. And people would pull up pictures of monkeys to this mixed woman to basically like make fun of her looks. And the fact that I only found this doing this research is insane, because if a black woman, let's say if someone was to call someone that on Israel looks like a monkey, it would be front page news. But this mixed woman being called this, it's almost like people just did not care. But I definitely feel like it's about her relationship with this white guy, and the fact that he's so young and they're so rich and that he could have anyone that he wanted, and he chose her, which is really weird. Really, really messed up. So I'm also going to pull up some videos of you guys just so you can see the receipts for that.
They're white Prince Charming, and I think they considered that he should definitely be with somebody white and blonde and not me. Whatever I did at that time, people would find pictures of monkeys and have me doing the same thing as the monkeys. So say if I was like wearing a red dress, they'd have a monkey in a red dress. Or if I was on a bike, they'd find a monkey on a bike. One time they found like a picture of my profile, and then they found a picture of a monkey's profile, and they put them next to each other. And I was like, wow, yeah, that looks the same. Sure. Can't really argue with that. That looks the same. And I just remember it had this massive kind of like dysmorphic effect on me for about 6 months to a year, where every time I saw my pictures in photographs, I would think, gosh, I look like a monkey, and people are going to say I look like a monkey. So I need to really try and hide this monkeyness that I have, because otherwise like people are going to come for me about it. And I remember when I'd like take pictures and stuff, I'd really try to kind of hold myself in a different way so that couldn't happen. White Prince Charming, and I think they considered that he should definitely be with somebody white and blonde and not me. He was there.
So my personal opinion is this is not about art theft or plagiarism or colorism. This is an argument on classism and desirability politics. And I think people are simply just jealous of the fact that this woman is able to live in her multifaceted identity and express and experience different parts of herself that other people find contradictive, and do it with a smile on her face and a pretty dress. I think that when you're hyper feminine or even just comfortable in your femininity, people like to poke and prod at you just to see if you'll bite back. And the fact that Nara's completely ignored this woman to the point to where she's posting fake legal documents just to get her riled up proves a point. And the fact that the general public has come around and started to realize that they misread this, I'm actually genuinely surprised that a lot of people were able to come to that. And that just proves that our voices as exoticals are being heard, and our stories are being heard, and other people are seeing how ridiculous some of these conversations are.